Internet. This is Sophia. Today my special guest is Rabbi Zalman Wurzburg, also known as Rabbi Zash, who is the director of the Old City Jewish Arts Center here in Philadelphia. Welcome to this show, Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the Old City Jewish Arts Center, a little bit about its history and what it does.
So essentially, it was a wacky idea that was the brainstorm of another rabbi in the mid 2000s. I want to say around 2004, 2005. He used to walk the streets here in Old City, Philadelphia, in the historic district. And he noticed something unusual. On the first Friday of every month, there was hundreds of people flocking to the streets, going into the galleries and checking out the art. And they were having some wine. They were having listened to some jazz music, and it was a really great art walk, a really great art crawl. I call it art hop. And he said, "Hey, we have a responsibility to have a presence here within this community." And he stumbled upon this space here on 119 North 3rd Street, and he asked the owner, "Hey, let's give people a taste of Shabbos, and we'll put up some art, and let's give it a trial." And he stood at the door, and he started counting. And people started walking in and looking at the art. And when he got to 1,000 people, he stopped counting, and he says, "Dayenu, it's good enough. I'm sold on this idea." Then he said, "Okay, it's Friday night. Let's make Kiddush. Let's pick up a cup of wine, and as the sun sets, let's make a blessing as we enter the beautiful Holy Sabbath." And there was an individual at the corner of the room who was very emotionally touched and moved. He was in tears. And the rabbi asked him afterwards, "I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Did I say anything wrong that made you emotional?" And when he was choking up, he said, "No, Rabbi, you did everything right. It's just I'm 80 years old and I haven't heard Kiddush, this beautiful benediction, this beautiful blessing, since my bar mitzvah." And the rabbi was sold again, second time. And since then, it's just been a great, great tradition to be part of the First Friday Art Crawl with the art openings where hundreds and hundreds of people will walk into the galleries and be able to have a chance. And at the same time, we will give them a taste of Shabbos, a taste of Judaism, simultaneously while viewing the monthly exhibit. So the exhibit, yes, changes every month, most of the time. And there's always a Jewish twist to it with some meditations that enriches and you get educated through the exhibit about this universal theme that we're trying to convey through the exhibit. Mostly local artists, and not necessarily directed to a certain genre or certain type of art. It may be abstract, it might be sculpture, it might be just beautiful landscape paintings, all different types of art and all different types of artists from all backgrounds. The undertone is being able to convey some beautiful message and messages through the exhibit.
Yeah, I've been there a number of times. So now, of course, we have the time period of COVID-19. What is the greatest challenge that the Old City Jewish Arts Center faces as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic?
So like many other art institutions and many other art galleries and museums, we all face similar challenges, and each one has their own in their own way. But definitely we are lacking the warmth of the individuality of the in-person connection. See, what happens is generally the door is open. Now the door is closed of the gallery, and people can come in from all walks of life, from anywhere. Now, being that we're strategically, we're actually right around the corner from we're right in the heart of historic district. Right around the corner is Betsy Ross' house. Ilford's Alley is right around the corner. Up the block, at the block or two, is the Liberty Bell. And we are right hard where everyone in the world comes to visit. So I have visitors all the time from all around the globe, from Germany, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Israel, from you name it, anywhere in the world who's just tourists are flocking to Philadelphia. They're in this historic district and they're stumbling on and coming into the Jewish Art Center to check it out. And I'm getting a chance to meet them. So I'm definitely missing the tourism and the challenge of getting what we call walk-ins, a lot of walk-ins. At the same time, we're missing the community, the in-person. Our very famous First Friday exhibit that ends with a beautiful Shabbat dinner that people can sit together in harmony and bring about mutual connections and a mutual understanding under the same roof, while at the same time enjoying the monthly exhibit, is definitely lacking and missing. So there's a lot of things, but of course, the chance of being able to in person speak to someone about the art and being able to connect to someone from whatever background they may be is definitely a strong challenge to be able to stay connected while socially distant.
And so how have y'all been meeting these challenges?
So one-on-one is my strong point. And that is being able to FaceTime with someone and say, hey, take a look at the exhibit and take a look at what the messages and some ideas of Judaism that will enrich and educate you along with the art. And that is definitely something that I'm working on and progressing to meet the needs of the individual. See, because by the end of the day, it's not just our body, it's our spirit, it's our soul that needs to be nourished and yearns for something deeper. And that stems from within us, that we have a spark of the divine, and we have to feed it. And art is one of the means of connecting to it, our soul, and expressing of our soul. As you could ask any artist and any person who's touched and moved by art, one of the tools and one of the ways to connect. So now is the time, even though I always used to joke and say, are you really going to look at an exhibit online? You got to come in the brick and mortar and experience it. But yes, the exhibit now moved virtually to online exhibit, and you could scroll through the link on our social media and our website, where you could see the monthly exhibit right here while you're walking through the gallery, a 3D virtual exhibit. And about each painting, you could have a morning coffee or you could have a glass of wine in the evening and just be able to adore and enjoy the message along with the exhibit and with the paintings.
Yeah. I'm trying to actually, okay, here's the thing is I have actually, I'm now actually trying to show our audience the exhibit. It's the virtual exhibit we have here, where you can, and yes, it's in some. It looks a lot like it looks just like the gallery. It does in person, and then it doesn't. In that, what's missing is you can see all the artwork, you can see all the tags, but there's something missing. Basically, all the other people.
Yes.
Who are.
Yeah. It's a very weird experience to not open the doors every day and greet visitors and have the in-person connection, which is a very challenging. And as we know, that's the way all personal connections, personal relationships is really the key to connecting to someone. But we understand that now is the time with this challenge. We have to rise to the occasion and connect in the, thank God, in technology that God provided to us. I was thinking about, when Philadelphia and St. Louis, I was reading the news that they had the flu. It was in 1920, if I'm stand correct, and how the difference between social distancing and flattening the curves. What happened to Philadelphia? Thousands and thousands were dead, and then St. Louis flattened the curves by social distancing. And I'm just thinking about, then they were social distancing, they were stay at home, but they didn't have technology. Here you could stay connected. Not like we're right now in 1920, we're in 2020. So technology advanced, science advanced, so thank God for this beautiful God's providing this opportunity and these tools.
So you didn't have the virtual gallery then until the pandemic started?
So yes, we always used to just publicize images, take pictures with our phone or a photographer at the opening, post a video of the artist talking, and we try to, of course, use all mediums. But now, this is the only medium you're going to be using. So yes, we weren't producing virtual walkthrough online exhibitions, but it happened to be that 3 years ago, someone around the corner from us, he said, "Hey, I'm starting this business where I'm bringing my drone and I'm bringing all my equipment, and I need to build my business, and I want to show also an art gallery how you could have this 3D and virtual experience." And he came in and he did this walkthrough and he spent an hour there, and I have that exhibit online now as well from 3 years ago. It was, I think, October of 2017. And since then, I was like, I got to make this monthly for the people who don't physically come in on First Friday or throughout the month to see the exhibit. So this actually pushed me now that I should be producing every month an online exhibit. Putting the exhibit not just in the brick and mortar, but also online.
So you had it before, but you didn't update it as often then?
Exactly. Besides just, how you take your phone, you take images, you take pictures, you publicize some paintings, but an actual walkthrough where you feel you walked in off the street and you took a look at the windows, and then you moved your computer and you went inside, and then you took a step and you walked into the first painting, read the meditation, read the inspiration from the artist, and then you moved on to the next until you went around the whole gallery and even to the back in the back gallery to independent art that is not related to the monthly exhibit, which is an all immersive walkthrough exhibit. I never had that before up until COVID-19. So we're hoping to do this monthly as well.
The thing is that I know that many times the logistics of changing exhibits are a lot harder when we're all social distancing. So are there any exhibits that you were slated for during the pandemic that are likely to be affected by this?
Yes, we had a group exhibit that was going to open in April, a 4-people exhibit, 4 artists. And it was going to be a fantastic and amazing exhibit. And unfortunately, we had to cancel it because, of COVID-19. So really, and we're going to push it off hopefully to when things, settle down a little bit. But for now, we are going to be producing online exhibits. And as well, you could just flip through an e-catalog, they call it, and you could see the exhibit, and even though you're not physically here. We are also going to implement artist calls for artists based on different topics. And one of the main topics is going to be, how do you express yourself? How are you connecting? And connecting yourself and expressing your soul through your medium, through your talent, art, your experience going through this horrible, unfortunate disaster. And we will produce that, and that, of course, will be online. I don't think that's too logistic, bringing hundreds of paintings and to put it up on the walls for just me to be able to enjoy, but it will be online. One of the advantages is which really hit me really hard, and it's going to be great, is with online, you could include artists from around the world, from around the country, from wherever. Normally, we just mostly show local, because local, just bring them from their local art studio, their local home, and bring into the gallery and it gets curated and installed for the monthly exhibit. So if you live just down the block or in Burbank or in Delaware or even just New York, but bring something from Florida, let's say, or Israel or Holland or Germany, like, how are you shipping hundreds of artists to be included in a monthly exhibit? And now you could actually have online exhibit, even though it's maybe not a walkthrough all immersive, but it's a beautiful exhibit curated online. It sounds funny, but these are the tools and the mediums that we are connecting with. So we are now opening ourselves up to not just a community of artists who are local, but be able to connect to artists and art from all around the globe, which is really fantastic and really amazing. And it will be launched in the coming months.
One thing interesting about it is it like also that way you could also include artists who work primarily in digital media. I mean, like when I do art, there rarely is an original when I do art, for example, there rarely is an original physical original anymore, because I usually do it digitally to begin with, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who does art in primarily digital media. And so you could now also include artists who...
Sure, yes. That's another beautiful advantage in digital art. And as well, also, you don't need to have it framed. Sometimes you don't even need it if it's digital. Sometimes it doesn't need to be printed out. And if someone will really fall in love with it and wants to bring it home and own it, then it could get printed. Then it could get stretched on canvas. Then it could be framed. So that's one of the beautiful advantages of this online gallery.
So you mentioned earlier about how you plan to maybe have to now have also some exhibits that start out in the virtual tour form, and do you plan to continue doing that after the pandemic?
Yes. So even after everything is safe, please God, very soon, we should all be safe and healthy. But when it is safe and healthy to return back to under the same roof and joining in the art community, we will be making sure to maximize the exhibit, to have it as well online. That not only for people who are local, for the local community, but be able to open ourselves up to everyone around the world, or people even local can make it in to be able to view the exhibit and walk through the exhibit and enjoy the exhibit.
Are there any other ways that you expect that the art world after the pandemic's over might be different than the art world as it was before the pandemic?
Yes. There was an article in the Inquirer. There was an article someone sent me, also in the New York Times. It's how it's interesting how all these art fairs are now online, and it's so interesting to be viewing these art exhibits that thousands and thousands of people would have became under the same roof, under the same convention center, to be able to view this art fair, and now it's an online art fair. So you have to be able to be innovative, use your creativity, and really open yourself up to ways of connecting to people and getting the art exposed and promoted online. Of course, there could also be produced catalogs as well that we plan to do very, very soon in the near future. But for now, it will be online until we could also produce art journals as well. Please God, very soon we will be doing that as well.
Yeah. Well, so now shifting gears a little bit.
Sure.
We've been discussing about the art community, but let's discuss now the Jewish community. What
Sure.
effects have you seen the COVID-19 pandemic having on Jewish life here in Philadelphia?
So I want to take a step back, not just Philadelphia, but Jewish life in general and life in general. It's very interesting, one of the main factors of Jewish life is the synagogue. And now, as synagogues are closed, houses of prayer are closed, it really makes you dig deeper within yourself and tap into inner resources that you may or may not be conscious or known about. It's very easy to sometimes are more accessible to be aroused and get into what I will call the flow and the vibe and the energy when you are with other community members or other people praying and in synagogue or whatever environment you may be, to get pumped and to get excited. And here now you have to pray and connect. The same rituals, your daily prayers or your daily rituals, however observant or religious you may be. But you asked me about the Jewish life. So speaking about the Jewish life, it's actually very interesting waking up every day and not being surrounded with the Kaddish, the traditional Kaddish, the traditional, four walls of the synagogue. So that is so interesting. One of the main foundations and the core of Judaism, of Jewish life, is gone for temporary, but it's so interesting. And that just means that you have to kind of gather your own personal minion, your own personal faculties inside of you to arouse yourself. And it's there, and it's innate, because you have a divine soul, you have a spirit, and you have to be able to connect to and tap into that little coal could burst into a flame. And it's definitely a little hard, a little more challenging, but because you don't have the ambiance, the environment to bring you into it. But it's been definitely very powerful and very, very, very interesting an experience. And one of them to the other side of the spectrum, Jewish life is not only in the synagogue, but it actually is in the home. And now that everybody is spending time in the home with hopefully, with individuals, hopefully you're not alone and not isolated. But thank God, even if you are physically alone in a home and living alone in a home, you still have a phone, hopefully, and you have a computer, hopefully, to connect to people. So hopefully you're not isolated alone. But even in the home, now you bring the holiness, not just the one time a year, Yom Kippur, but Yom Kippur every day now in your home. The prayers are now in your home. So that energy that you could experience or may have some warm emotions and feelings towards Judaism or anything sacred and holy on the one day a year, Yom Kippur, bring that now and arouse that now every day in your life, in your home, because they always say it starts from the home. It starts within. And there's a lot of things to go about. I don't want to get too carried away, but one of the ideas of Jewish philosophy is, and I see it's very universal, is that it starts from within, inward, internally. And if you could work out and work with yourself internally, then you can also express that externally to others. So I think now's the time to really introspect and really connect to who am I? What am I? What am I striving for? Why am I here? What are my goals? What are my priorities here in your home? So Jewish life is not vanished in the synagogue, but bringing now the synagogue into your home, having a Yom Kippur experience daily, weekly, monthly in your home with your family, or if there aren't around, you're not around family, over a phone, over Zoom. And it's very interesting to see Zoom. A lot of people are telling me Friday night, Rabbi, I'm on my family, extended family, all on Zoom together. And it's beautiful. And it's beautiful to see it.
Yeah, of course, you're not fasting every day.
True. Yes, have not. One of the things the center does time to time, my wife, Amuna, the modest mom, the _ modest mom on Instagram, she puts on challah baking. So now she put a challah bake virtually, and she had a nice handful of attendants, and people asking her, we couldn't make it to the Zoom, but could you send us the recipe? Could you send us the booklet she made on challah? And every day she gets another DM, another message. Can we miss, that challah looked great. I know your challahs from the past experiences. I'm not here to receive it anymore. I'm not here to attend, but can I please learn on my own, in my own home, how to bake it? And that's something we did in the past virtually, and we want to continue as well. And leading up, right when it hit, right before Passover, we were very nervous to give out handmade matzah shmura, so we just had to ship them and have to send them. And we sent about, I think, like over to 118 people all over the local community. So we're still trying, so to summarize your question, we're still trying to service people with their physical needs, their emotional needs, and their spiritual needs, and their Jewish needs, of course. But it's a challenge not doing that in person, over a cup of coffee, over a glass of wine, over a Friday night dinner, over an exclusive exhibit on a first Friday, or a young professional viewing, but doing it online, or in online one-on-one, or in a group setting. It's definitely a challenge. But this is the way right now that we can connect.
Although one thing you're probably doing a lot more of washing hands, which there's also a Jewish history regarding hand washing.
Yes, I was really thinking, good point, Sophie. That's actually a very interesting point. A Jewish meal always begins with the ritual of washing the hands. And before we sit down to eat, you wash your hands. When you come out of the restroom, you wash your hands. And all sorts of types of work. There are very interesting laws regarding washing your hands. For example, when you cut your nails, after nail cutting, you're also supposed to wash your hands. Family intimacy, you also wash your hands. There's throughout your whole spectrum of your day and throughout your life, washing hands is very essential. And before bread, in the morning when you wake up, it's called the traditional modani. In Yiddish, it's called the Negelwasser washing. And then there's the cup. You're supposed to wash with the cup before morning prayers. You start your day besides just waking up. So it's very, very interesting. Yes. My mom, a blessed memory, always to say cleanliness is right next to holiness, as is a quote also actually from the Gemara, from the Talmud.
So, anyways, you mentioned you wanted to show us a little bit around the gallery.
Sure. So I'm actually in the brick and mortar, the red brick walls. Everybody knows us as the red brick walls. We haven't put up white sheetrock. It gives us the intimate, the coziness, the heimish, as we call in Yiddish. But what's very interesting, I wanted to actually, before I show you the exhibit, I want to actually tell you something that, now we are kind of we are stripped away from a lot of external experiences, such as going to a ball game, going to a theater, watching a concert live, and all sorts of eating out. And the list goes on and on. And now that we're spending time in the home, it's important that you're surrounded by an environment and an atmosphere that calms your mind and calms your nerves and calms your body, but also brings out and has the way and one of the tools to bring out and connect to your soul and tap in and touch your soul. And we always know art is one of those powerful tools. So I always say the difference between a white wall or a blank wall, but a wall with art is the difference. It's such a huge difference. So I highly suggest fall in love with a work of art, either in this exhibit or our past exhibits. Everything's online on our social media. Our other exhibits we put on, they're all available. And I could actually see in the background of you, it happens to be the background, there's a painting, a beautiful landscape painting behind you by one of our artists, who you actually own and purchase from our gallery. His name is Stanley Carr Jr., and he's a phenomenal artist who we represent here. And it's just stunning. And that just brings out having a cup of coffee every day, just staring at it, and beautifully, it's beautiful. And we have similar and quite a few of his art here in the gallery as well, which you could reach out if you like his work. So that it just changes. That just actually sets the example and proves my point. Surrounded by beautiful art, as you are, Sophie, surrounded by this beautiful art that came from our gallery. And also I know in your mom's home and your parents' home, they have beautiful art that they purchased and they own from Egal, Fadida, and from other artists, glass artists. And when I walk into their home, it changes everything, and it just calms your mind, eases your soul, and gives you a way to be able to sit and connect with your soul. So art is very important these days. It is essential, if I may say, and it definitely is very essential for not only because we know we can't live just on bodily needs, we need soul, the spirit, and definitely art is the soul, the spirit. So fall in love, reach out and say, hey, I want to go in debt for a beautiful artwork. But you don't have to go in debt because we have work so beautiful and affordable from all sizes. And it all goes back to support the beautiful mission of the Jewish Art Center to continue and not just live, but thrive and grow and continue to being here open to the community, even if the doors physically are closed.
Yeah.
So I'll take you a walk.
I wish when you mentioned about the things by Gal Fadida here, makes me wish that I had the ability to actually go around the place. I should make that on part of my to-do list, to working it out so that I can have a mobile camera to plug into these interviews, but that'll take a while. But
right.
There's that, and there's also a right over there over there, that which I can't show you because because it's off screen, is a framed mirror, which also
Yes.
came from your gallery.
Yes, and believe it or not, it's actually my father-in-law, Labe Medvin, and you had him on your show because he got COVID-19 and had to be in the hospital, Lincoln Hospital, for 10 days on oxygen, and you included him as a guest interview a few weeks back. And he makes beautiful, beautiful handmade, hand-cut ceramic tiles, and it beautiful with a mirror inside and engraved beautiful letters. So his beautiful mosaic sculptures and mosaic paintings, beautiful with a mirror to be able to reflect yourself. It can be anywhere, and that is beautiful home decor to have. Someone said, "Hey, I want to take you in, Rabbi, but don't be weirded out. That beautiful painting is in my restroom, and I look at it every day when I'm wake up, brushing my teeth, combing my hair, getting dressed." It could be in your bedroom, it could be in your living room. So that is another art exhibit that we are going to be hosting. His beautiful work back as we had 2 or 3 years ago, back in September, and he has an Instagram handle, and his name is Clabe Studio. His name, it's a play on words. His name is Labe. So instead of Labe Studio and our clay studio where he was studying and using their studio and enjoying around the corner, the clay studio. So it's Clay B Studio, Clabe Studio. Look him up on Instagram, and hopefully I'll encourage him to post more images. Yes, absolutely. So I will take you around the gallery. It's beautiful abstract work by Christopher Leiter, who lives in Western Pennsylvania.
Don't forget the hand washing station. Don't forget the hand washing station.
I will. So actually, we could start from the hand washing station. As you can see, I'm picking up and here we go is where we wash our hands. And what we do is there's a line every first Friday, and you can see here is the station. I'm going to zoom in to our little statement about the hand washing. A Jewish meal begins with a ritual hand washing before breaking bread. When we eat, we sometimes forget about our soul and let our body take over. We pour water over our hands, reminding us that even our physical experience must be infused with the holiness of the soul. And that we keep right here when any person who comes to do the bread, to break the bread before breaking bread, what we call the traditional challah bread, the hamotzi, they read that before they wash their hands. And yes, we got a lot of soap, and we got a lot of making sure that everybody keeps cleanliness. And here is another beautiful painting that goes along by Samantha Carell, who we love her work. And she has a lot of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful paintings as well included in the exhibit. And as you mentioned, Igal Fadida, he has as well. And all this could be seen online as well, every painting. But as you can see in the back,
that one's Fadida. That one over there is Fadida.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Fadida, and that's online as well. And if you have any questions, I could send anybody more clear images to enjoy. So along with the exhibit, we have beautiful a little corner for merging artists. And then I have, as you could see up close, which is in the online virtual exhibit. And then we include a glass artist as well every month. And she made beautiful art glass work. Then we have beautiful, from a glass blowing, Jonathan Cohn. And of course, we have a picture of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rebbe. And we have, along with beautiful glass work. And then we have prints that we're going to be publicizing online and on our social media, our Instagram and our Facebook, that didn't make it in to the actual exhibit because it's just kind of, in this little packet over here. So beautiful little things. They say, hey, I don't want to spend, that much money, or it's not in my budget, it's not affordable right now. But you could fall in love with a little beautiful abstract painting, or beautiful other paintings of beautiful paintings that we have here from old different sketches, or a yad, beautiful yad from old local artists, which we'll be posting as well. So, and then of course Samantha's prints. We have Samantha prints that weren't including, and all her you could see her prints, which we'll post. And of course Igor Fadida's no prints, just originals, small little ones, miniature ones. It's very affordable. So you could adore your home with an expression of the soul, art, what I like to say. And I actually, and so yes, and this is the exhibit. It's very weird to be alone here, just kind of showing it to you and doing it. And here, like some beautiful, some of the move around the gallery. So yeah, this is the gallery. And hopefully soon you can make an appointment. Hopefully when things can open, things could ease, you can make an appointment. You'll be the only one in the gallery. So, and we could be social distancing, and we could have everything sanitized and cleaned for you. So you won't feel like you're in Walmart or Costco, hundreds of people. It will just start off by appointments, one-on-one visits, and that will be go along with the extra safety until things could really, please God, turn over to the good, to healthy.
So anyways, it's been very wonderful having you on this show.
Thank you for having me.
And to all my viewers there, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and please hit the thumbs up button and put a comment in the comments area below, and also, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this channel so that you'll know about other great videos that I do in the future, whether they be live stream or like this one, or pre-recorded, like the one that I'm having on an upcoming Thursday about instant runoff voting, and I also hit the bell icon to increase the chance that you get notified when there's new videos that I upload in the future. And until next time, see ya!